Welcome to the Northwest Campus of the Calvary Community Church and Glendale's inaugural induction ceremony for the high school students entering the United States Armed Services. My name is Jeff Turney, the chairman of the Glendale Chamber of Commerce Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. It's my honor to serve as your MC tonight. All of us from the organizing committee would like to extend a special welcome to the families and friends who are here to take part in this special occasion. As a 21-year veteran of the Air Force, I want to personally thank you for your commitment to join the Armed Forces. Please stand for the posting of the colors by the Civil Air Patrol 388 Squadron and remain standing for the national anthem by the Sounds of the Southwest Singers Community Choir and the invocation by Senior Pastor Mark Martin. Pastor Martin, if you could come up.
Let's bow our heads together. Our Father in heaven, we acknowledge you as our Creator and Redeemer. We thank you for giving to mankind the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We are grateful to those who protect these rights with their service and with their lives. We pray for these young men and women who have made the choice to join with those past and present in defending our God-given rights for our United States and those whose freedom are just jeopardized in this world. May they look to you for strength and protection in their service. We pray for their families as well, for their encouragement, their strength, and blessing. Please bless this time of dedication and celebration tonight. We ask in Jesus' name, amen. Please be seated.
Voice
Thank you, Matt Deller, and our choir for being here for this evening for support of this prestigious event. If that doesn't get your blood flowing, nothing will. We have a number of public officials in the audience tonight that I would like to introduce. Glendale Mayor Jerry Wires. Glendale Vice Mayor Ian Hughes from the Cactus District. Glendale City Council Member Jamie Aldama from the Ocotillo District. Glendale City Council Member Ray Malnar from the Saguaro District. Colonel Wanda Wright, Director of the Arizona Department of Veteran Services. Ben White, Assistant Principal for Apollo High School. And Justin Tarver, Assistant Principal, Glendale High School. Next, it's my great privilege to introduce the Honorable Jerry Wires, Mayor of the City of Glendale.
Pretty cool, huh? Well, good evening. I'm so incredibly happy to be with you here tonight to see this event come together after literally just a few months in the making. It's pretty common for me to begin a speech by saying thank you, and I give a lot of speeches, I really do. But tonight is very, very special. Tonight's the night when folks in our city have come together as a community for the very purpose of saying thank you for your decision to serve in the United States Armed Services. The high school students from the Glendale area in this sanctuary are part of 1% who have made that choice to stand watch on the front line of the freedom of our world. And for that reason, we're here tonight to honor this courageous decision. I want to tell the young men and women who are enlisting that that decision is most likely, without a doubt, is the best decision that you made in your life to date. Now, some of you, if not most all of you, will go on to get married, have kids, and those will definitely be some momentous occasions, I promise. But this decision that you made today has set your entire life on a career path with unlimited opportunities. Now, you might be sent to a foreign country to represent the United States. You may save someone's life. You might earn a master's degree courtesy of Uncle Sam. But the one thing for sure, you will encounter challenges. I promise you that. Now, some of you might not know what a challenge coin is or understand the meaning, so I'm going to tell you. Challenge coins are especially popular within the military, but they're also used by civilians in some membership organizations. The history of the challenge coin is fascinating, and for the military, the tradition dates back to at least World War I. The story that I've told and been told for quite a while, so it's got to be the truth, right? The challenge coin actually started in World War I with the French pilot that was very wealthy, and he gave medallions to his fellow pilots, and that's sort of how the challenge coin got started. Now, usually a commander or someone on the command chain will present one of these to someone to recognize a special event. Now, it could be for courage or showing leadership. It could be for honesty or anything that sets you above average. Oftentimes, you can't give someone a raise in pay or a promotion in rank. So the challenge coin is a very special recognition for something exceptional. So a lot of times, commanders will call somebody out of the ranks up in front of everybody, and they'll give them their personal coin, and everybody acknowledges and realizes this is something special. I'm being rewarded for something that I did incredibly cool. The challenge coin behind me on the screen was actually created by myself. You'll see the Office of the Mayor and the Glendale Chamber of Commerce, and you'll see Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. But the most important stamp on this coin, quite honestly, is where it says, the first to say thank you. Each one of you recruits tonight is going to receive this coin and a certificate of appreciation from my office. And I need you to understand that you need to keep this coin with you at all times because you never know when you might be challenged, hence the name challenge coin. If I pull this coin out of my pocket and you don't have yours, guess what? You're going to owe me a soda. Now, I drink Diet Coke, so as long as you know. Now, if you pull that coin out of your pocket, you slap it down on the counter after I've challenged you, guess what? I got to buy you whatever your drink is. So it works. It does work both ways. You can also challenge me. If you see me in blue jeans and you go, there's no way he's going to have that coin with him, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Right? But if you do, it does work both ways. There is, in fact, an entire community of volunteers here tonight with us from the community, businesses and organizations that came together for this event. And we're all here for the same reason, to thank you for your decision that you made to protect and serve our country. But we also especially want to thank the families, the moms, the dads, your siblings. We want to take a moment to recognize all of the family members that are here tonight, and thank you so much for your support. To each and every family member here tonight, your son or your daughter, your niece or nephew, might be your grandson or granddaughter, just made a decision to join a much larger family, and we're all here to support you. Finally, I want to acknowledge our veterans who are with us here tonight. We appreciate the sacrifices that you made to serve our country. We had many veterans who worked hand in hand with us on this event tonight. It didn't take any effort whatsoever on my part to convince them to help. They wanted to. They were more eager to help because they've been in your shoes. They were once new recruits themselves. In fact, many of them have said to me, man, I wish somebody would have done something like that for me when I decided to enlist. Now, one of those veterans here tonight is Chris Kelly. Chris attended the Army Community Action Committee meeting last year where he saw a presentation called Our Community Salutes. As a veteran himself, he was moved by this notion that we could come together and say thank you to our local recruits. So when he approached me, how could I say no to him? I couldn't. Chris asked me to a meeting where a two-star general told me a story of two dads who were talking about their sons who both had just graduated high school. And the story, I'm probably going to get screwed up. I'll do the best I can. Colonel Kluge, you probably know the story yourself. The two dads were talking at the graduation for their two sons, and the one father was going on and on and on about his son, and his chest was swelled out so big his buttons were popping off. He was so proud of his son. Talking about his son getting some appointment, full ride scholarship, I think it was Stanton or someplace. And rightfully so. He had that right to brag about his son. But what upset me when I heard the story is he then turned to the other father and he said, you know what my son's doing? What's your son doing? And the other father said, with a big grin, stood proud, stuck his chest out. He said, my son's going in the Army. And the first father said, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I got to tell you, it really, really upset me when I heard that story. It absolutely just, well, I'd like to tell you what I really thought, but we're in church, so. I really do want to thank Chris Kelly for planting the seed from which this whole event sprouted. Chris, where are you at? Stand up for me, please. Chris, where are you at? Oh, there you are. Chris is part of the Chamber's Military and Veterans Affairs Committee. I've known Chris for quite some time, and he's really an outstanding guy. I do want to thank again, our Chamber Veteran and Affairs Committee, our sponsors, and our local military recruiting offices for coming together to make this event possible. If we could give them a round of applause, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I promise you I only have about 20 more minutes to go, so bear with me. It was Teddy Roosevelt who said, in any situation, the best thing you can do is the right thing. Now, the next best thing that you can do would be the wrong thing. But the worst thing that you could ever do is nothing. Recruits, look around you. Tonight, you're doing the right thing. To the recruits in this audience, let me close my remarks with this. I'd like to ask everyone who is currently serving and all of our veterans who have served, if you'd please stand up for me if you're able to. Please stand up if you're a veteran, if you're currently serving. Remain standing. Don't sit down. Inductees, look at these gentlemen behind you, and ladies. I see you way back there. You're now going to be standing on the shoulders of every person standing in this room that was active duty and our veterans. It's your job now to carry on that baton. Now, you will encounter challenges. You will absolutely face difficult situations. But you will represent our country, the people of the United States. And I'm certain that you'll make us all proud. You veterans can sit down if you'd like. Thank you. Whatever you wind up doing and wherever you wind up going, I hope that you remember this night. I hope that you remember this one simple truth, that your community, this community, Glendale, Arizona, appreciates you, and we have your back. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you. Thank you so much.
My name is Amy Wilkinson. I'm a White House Fellow. My question is how you would define the key characteristics of effective leadership that allow you to go and be an advocate for good.
Trust. The longer I have been in public service and the more people have asked me about leadership over the years, leadership ultimately comes down to creating conditions of trust within an organization. Good leaders are people who are trusted by followers. Leaders take organizations past the level that the science of management says is possible. One of my sergeants back in the infantry school at Fort Benning almost 50 years ago, which is where I learned everything I ever got to learn about leadership, was at the infantry school. And he said to me one day, he said, "Lieutenant, you'll know you're a good leader when people follow you, if only out of curiosity." I've never had a better definition, because what he was saying, and I've seen it experienced in my life so many times. What he was saying is they trust you, and you have built up that trust. How did you do it? Clear mission and statement, selfless service. People look to you and they trust you because you're serving selflessly as the leader, not self-serving, selflessly, and that you prepare the followers, you train them. You give them what they need to get the job done. Don't give them a job if you're not going to give them the resources, and that you're prepared to take the risks with them. And so they would teach us at the infantry school, no matter how cold it is, Lieutenant, you must never look cold. No matter hungry you all are, Lieutenant, you must never appear hungry. No matter how terrified you are, Lieutenant, you must never look terrified. Because if you are scared, terrified, hungry, and cold, they will be scared, terrified, hungry, and cold. I've gotten away with that many, many times in the course of my career by being scared to death, cold, and wanting to go to sleep. But no, let's go. Let's keep going. Let's go around this corner, if only out of curiosity. And they'll follow you into the darkest night, down the deepest valley, up the highest hill, if they trust you. So the essence of leadership is about doing all that the science of management says you can with resources, but then taking it that extra step and giving it that spark. And that spark comes from getting people to trust you so that they will follow you, if only out of curiosity. Thank you.
Recruits, you'll soon learn that there is no such thing as can't. As Colin Powell said, leadership is made up of trust and having individuals in the right place to create that spark that gets the mission done. We didn't have all the pieces in place to put this event together at the beginning. We had an idea, but we trusted our fellow committee members who stepped up and answered the call to put this event together for our local recruits. We started with nothing, and we're here today. I would like to thank the following supporters who have given us their valuable time, money, and resources to make this event possible. The Calvary Community Church, Sand Chevrolet, Disabled American Veterans, Arrington Watkins Architects, Ascendant Living, Shane's Rib Shack, Ideal Insurance Agency, Alpha Graphics, and the Sounds of the Southwest Singers and Community Choir. Let's give our community supporters a round of applause. And now it's time to give our And now it's time to recognize our future service members. Please hold all applause until all inductees have crossed the stage from each branch. We'll have professional photographers taking pictures, which will be available online at no cost at the Glendale Chamber of Commerce website, www.glendalechamberaz.com. Therefore, we ask you to remain seated during the ceremony. First, I would like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel David Kluge, Commanding Officer of the U.S. Army's Phoenix Recruiting Battalion.
Good evening, Mayor Wires, distinguished guests, families and friends of soon-to-be graduating high school seniors, other distinguished guests, retirees, and veterans. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Dave Kluge. I am the commander of the U.S. Army Phoenix Recruiting Battalion. It is my distinct honor and privilege to join you on this momentous occasion for the first annual Glendale induction ceremony of our community salutes. Events like this are crucial for the Army, and our military needs support from communities and schools to educate young Americans on the many opportunities available through military service. It is my great honor to recognize the 65 future Army soldiers and other future members of our armed forces who are assembled in front of us here today. Future soldiers, you, your families, your friends should be very proud of all that you have accomplished, and more importantly, for what you are about to embark upon as you join the U.S. Army. Before I specifically address our future members of the U.S. Army and our U.S. military in attendance, I would like to briefly provide perspective to how exceptional it truly is to meet the requirements for military service while illuminating the challenges our senior military leaders and recruiters face on a daily basis. Today, more than 70% of our youth do not meet the bare minimum requirements for military service. For those not qualified, obesity accounts for about 31% of disqualifications, and low aptitude accounts for about 9.5%. The rest do not meet the moral standards. When I was in high school and college in the 1990s, 40% of our youth between the ages of 16 and 24 had a parent who had served in the military. Today, that number is 16%. Currently, less than 1% of the U.S. population serves, and less than 7% have served. The number of high school graduates is expected to decline now through 2023. The year of greatest decline is actually this year, with about 81,000 fewer graduates, 2.3%. And of significant concern, more than 50% of young adults ages 17 to 35 admit to having little to no knowledge about the military. Today's youth are largely unaware of the career and educational opportunities the Army and other branches of the military provide. They deserve the opportunity to make an informed decision regarding their future. However, in this room, I see over 100 high school seniors who are qualified and eager to serve our country. I see 65 future soldiers enlisting in 30 unique military occupational specialties out of the Army's inventory of over 150 jobs. I see 65 extraordinary opportunities to grow as an individual, a soldier, and a leader. Your decision to serve your country is impressive, is as impressive as it is important. You have all worked incredibly hard to get to this point, knowing full well the challenges that will lie ahead. Yet these challenges are worth facing, and they will shape you and your character as you grow into becoming the future leaders of our country. You will mature as individuals and as members of the Army team. Take pride in knowing your individual contributions will help shape the Army of tomorrow and other military services as well. So, step up to the occasion. put your best foot forward, and serve our nation selflessly. And always remember, it's not about the individual. It's about each and every individual's contributions to the team effort. As you move on to complete your training and report to your first unit, I am confident that each one of you will thrive and continue to prove your excellence as members of the world's greatest and mightiest military force that has ever existed. And, in the words of our former Army Chief of Staff, Raymond Odierno, the strength of our nation is our Army. The strength of our Army is our soldiers. The strength of our soldiers is our family. And that's what makes us Army strong. Thank you.
Captain Eugene Lee will be announcing names for our future recruits this evening.
The following high school seniors have made the commitment to serve their country in the U.S. Army. Revelo Gilbert. Claro Sutelo Haiti. Contreras Gabriela. Cortez Brandon. Diaz Angel. Duran Nava Gerardo. Erhard Nathaniel. Espino Marco. Fallows Catherine. Farkas Brandon. Feeney Joshua. Franco Ramirez Pablo. Garrett William. Heston Kendall. Ismario Torres Melissa. Larabelle Michael. Laura Latiana. Lord Daniel. Lucas Tyler. Luna Ciari Jaime. Mato Anthony. Miller Matthew. Moreno Daniel. Morgan Seth. Pham John. Ponce Lorenzo. Robledo Andrew. Romero Carlos. Schultz Morea. Seller Alexander. Sims Kayla. Solis Javier. Staples Natalie. Tani McKenzie. Tiarina Isaac. Torres Nicholas. Vargas Stephen. Vasconcelos Enrique. Velasco Ana. Villa Hernandez Gerardo. White DeAndre. Williams Kyler. Willis Brendan. Wolf Nicholas. York Michael. All right, that concludes our list of recruits entering the U.S. Army.
Next, I would like to introduce Major Barrett Bradstreet, Commanding Officer, Marine Corps Recruiting Station, Phoenix.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Barrett Bradstreet. I'm very proud to represent the Marine Corps tonight, and I have a message first to the parents and then also to the representatives of the city of Glendale, and finally to those who aspire to be Marines here in the audience tonight. I'm very proud to serve this function, to represent my organization, but in one particular sense, I'm not very representative of all of this organization, and those differences are important. The Marine Corps is very young and is predominantly, more than half of Marines are under 25 years old. Roughly 4 out of every 10 serve in the 3 most junior ranks in the Marine Corps. Most Marines join the Marine Corps, serve honorably, and then return to the community from which they come. 8 out of every 9 Marines serves in the enlisted ranks, and so officers are relatively scarce. And so in some respects, to have a person like me speak as a representative of the organization might give the wrong impression. I'm more the director of admissions than a member of the student body. And to paraphrase Thucydides, he's most excellent who serves in the most severe school. And indeed, the Marine Corps is a severe school at times, but my message to the parents is you can be very proud of your Marine Corps. I have no doubt as you look forward to the graduation of your sons and daughters, and they're embarking on a new chapter of their life, that you're very proud of them. I'd like you to know you can be proud of the Marine Corps as well. And many of you may have served in uniform, perhaps in the Marine Corps, but I would tell you that the Marine Corps today embodies that old-fashioned American virtue of e pluribus unum. I speak to you not as someone who grew up in the state of Arizona, but someone who grew up far away in the Bay State in Massachusetts. And in the U.S. Marine Corps, people from all walks of life, from every state in the Union, from those born to great abundance and those who are of lesser means, work together and undertake cooperative activities that are very important to the defense of the United States. And I think if you served in the Marine Corps in the past, I would tell you that it is in fact better than you think. And you can be very proud of your U.S. Armed Forces, and I would say of your Marine Corps in particular. And keeping in mind the characteristics I mentioned of the U.S. Marine Corps today, I'd say to you, Mr. Mayor, and to the other representatives of the town, these men and women who leave today, most of them will return to Glendale. Some of them will stay in the Marine Corps, as I've chosen to do. Many will serve honorably and then return. Some will go to distant corners of these United States, but many are coming back. And in this severe school, we invest in our Marines to make them better citizens. And I think you'll find you'll be very happy with those Marines when they return to Glendale, when they return to the Valley of the Sun. And finally, to those of you who have elected to join the ranks of the few and the proud, first I'd commend you. As Major Kluge mentioned, very few of your contemporaries have made the choice that you've made, and it is honorable that you've taken this first step. But I will tell you there is more to come. The Marine Corps is challenging on purpose, but teamwork, working together, and investing in the capabilities and the collective potential of the organization is very important. And for that reason, and for the fellowship you'll experience, for the esprit de corps, I will say you have quite a bit to look forward to. And so we will soon recognize these aspiring Marines. And before we recognize all of them together, I do want to say a word about one in particular. In addition to recognize aspiring Marines, we will also recognize one young man who has earned a scholarship opportunity to to attend college on a Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps scholarship. I was a recipient of that scholarship 20 years ago, and it's a very generous offer that provides full tuition to young men and women who exhibit high academic achievement, strong athletic capability, and demonstrated leadership potential. And those young men and women will go on to be that small slice of the Marine Corps that serves in the officer ranks. And so we will shortly recognize one NROTC scholarship recipient in particular. With that, Mr. Mayor, I propose then we turn to recognize some individual Marines, and to the future Marines, I would say Semper Fidelis.
The following high school seniors have made the commitment to serve their country in the U.S. Marine Corps. Cutts Noah. Alvarez Manuel. Beltran Del Rio Lorenzo. Bermeo Christian. Dylan Brenna. Espericueta Kayla. Fernandez Demetrius. Bachler Nathan. Fullen Matthew. Enriquez Mario. Hernandez Jose. Herrera Marea. Howard Chase. Knockenhauer Hunter. Lawrence Gabe. Martinez Ethan. Norton Nathan. Parton Denver. Phelan Leonard. Ramirez Christopher. Rice Nijay. Ryan Smith John. Rodriguez Johnny. Salireo Jaime. Seeloff Ian. Toner Kyle. Tossing Robert. Whitlock Bruce. That concludes our list of recruits entering the U.S. Marine Corps.
Next, I'd like to introduce Chief Master Sergeant Randall Kwiatkowski, 56 Fighter Wing Command Chief of the Luke Air Force Base.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I could not think of a better place to hold this evening's event. I want to thank our elected officials, the men and women of the Military Veterans Affairs Committee, the Calvary Community Church, and everyone else who had a hand in making tonight's event possible. Tonight, I'd like to address three things, kind of three key takeaways that I want us to leave with tonight. First, our sincere thanks. Next, our steadfast promise. And finally, a glimpse of our future. There is no way to appropriately communicate my sincere thanks to our moms and dads, our guardians, our siblings, aunts, uncles, friends, next-door neighbors, and communities who have had a critical role in raising these phenomenal young men and women. Throughout their entire lives, it was you who instilled the unique set of values that have inspired these future leaders to answer the noblest calling any human being can accept, to selflessly serve and protect our great nation and our interests around the globe. These young leaders are taking every ounce of investment of your time, your energy, and your passion, and aligning what you instilled in them with the values of the enterprise they serve, whether that be with the United States Army, the United States Marine Corps, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, or the United States Coast Guard. These young men and women will soon belong to a very unique family. I call this family the 1%ers, the less than 1% of our entire nation who chooses to serve in the United States military. And that leads me to a promise. Recently, the 56th Fighter Wing Commander and I, Brigadier General Brooke Leonard, we visited Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, and we saw a graduation of basic military trainees. We watched nearly 500 airmen pass in front of us as they marched down the bomb run, in front of their families and friends who made the trip to witness this awesome transformation of their sons and daughters into airmen of the most powerful and feared Air Force the world has ever known. Similar to the graduation of our sister services, at the conclusion of the ceremony, the parade field boundary lines were dropped and moms and dads stormed the field to find their young airmen. Well, the general and I, we stormed the field as well, even though we didn't have children out there. But we just wanted to shake hands with our newest airmen. And we looked into the eyes of moms and dads, and we just sensed this awesome pride that they had. And with that pride was just a little bit of anxiety. What's next? What's going to happen now? And General Leonard and I made many promises to several families that day, and it's the same promise that I make to you all this evening. As leaders of a joint endeavor, we promise to organize, train, and equip your sons and daughters for the challenges they will face ahead. I make this promise knowing that we are going to motivate, develop, and inspire our nation's sons and daughters using the greatest technological advancements this world has ever seen, while being led by the greatest leaders our nation has to offer. I make this promise through the same blind trust you bestow in every single one of us. As leaders in a multi-domain enterprise, it is our responsibility to not only believe in each other, but to trust each other with a bond that has withstood the test of time. History has proven that this legacy, a legacy of service that has been handed down from one generation to the next, will never be broken. And now that the time has come for this legacy of service to be handed to a new generation of leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of our nation sits before us today. These soldiers, sailors, airmen and Marines, and Coast Guardsmen hold the pen that is going to write our nation's history books for future generations to come. I stand by our promise to ensure these men and women are technically, physically, spiritually, and mentally ready to endure the challenges ahead. I thank you for who you are. I'm honored to be a member of your team, and I'm excited to see the impact you're going to have on the future of our nation. May God bless you. May God bless the families and friends who support you, and may God bless America.
The following high school seniors have made the commitment to serve their country in the U.S. Air Force. Ackerman Caleb. Baldwin Ariana. Bocanegra Ricky. Brooks Collette. Bundy Danielle. Castellanos Nicholas. Clark Christopher. De Herrera Marquez. Espine Nikki Charmaine. Escara Jordan. Gomez Jose. Gushchow Dylan. Han David. Haselden Richard. Hernandez Michaela. Cruzel Cody. Larson Kobe. Lopez Maria. Moore Andrew. Moore Jordan. Martin Zachary. Porter Megan. Roddy Edmond. Ross Cody. Santa Maria Gabriel. Santos Micah Christine. Scraggle Justin. Scott Andrew. Shaw Austin. Stamatiedes Minx Ashton. Stuart Ashland. Stubbs Tyler. Sunquist Brianne. Takahara Jonathan. Van Aller Christian. Vasquez Kaylee. Yates Austin. That concludes our list of recruits entering the U.S. Air Force.
Next, I'd like to call to the podium Chief Petty Officer Rudy Lopez of the United States Navy.
Good evening. My name is Chief Petty Officer Lopez. I'm the leading Chief Petty Officer in the Glendale area for Navy Recruiting District Phoenix. I am honored to be here today to recognize our future sailors. And as you may know, only about 22% of the nation qualifies for military service. These young men and women are being honored here today, and they are that small percent that qualifies for the military. I'm proud of each and every one of you. I can honestly say that I have the privilege to work side by side these future sailors on a regular basis. And I commend you for stepping up and answering the call in serving your country. Thank you.
The following high school seniors have made the commitment to serve their country in the U.S. Navy. Calderon, Wendy. Campbell, Austin. Connor, Kimberly. Cody, Ian. Vogel, Nathan. Gonzalez, Julissa. Gonzalez, Nathan. Marin, Gabriel. Negro, James. That concludes our list of recruiters entering the U.S. Navy.
Finally, please welcome to the podium Chief Petty Officer, First Class, Martin Wygant of the U.S. Coast Guard.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Petty Officer First Class Martin Wygant, and I'm a recruiter here for the Coast Guard here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm extremely honored to be here to represent future Coast Guardman Christian Dullard. I had the privilege to meet Christian last August. He quickly became fully qualified and shortly after was offered a position to join the United States Coast Guard, which he humbly accepted. Christian plans on becoming a maritime enforcement specialist and possibly applying to become a commissioned officer. I've been recruiting now for over 6 years. During this time, I've recruited over 100 applicants. I have to say, out of all those applicants, Christian is probably my #1 applicant. He's a fantastic man with a fantastic future. And I'm honored to be his recruiter, and I wish him the very best of luck as he embarks on this new adventure. Semper Paratus.
The following high school senior has made the commitment to serve his country in the U.S. Coast Guard. Dullard Christian. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, that concludes our list of recruits for the Coast Guard.
At this time, if I could get our military dignitaries to stand in front of your group of enlistees, Army and Marines on this side. Colonel Kluge, you come up here. Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard on this side here. Stand and face your recruits. There we go. Colonel Kluge will now administer the oath of enlistment to our future military members.
Future service members, stand in position of attention. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. To support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith. And allegiance to the same. That I will obey. The orders of. The President of the United States. And the orders of. Those officers. Appointed over me. According to regulations. And the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations.
You may be seated. How many people in here's heart rate just raised about 10 beats? Yeah, there you go. Congratulations, recruits. The City of Glendale, the Chamber, and our entire community are proud of you and your decision to serve our country. How about we give them a round of applause? Well done, well done. Our next song is called Salute to the U.S. Armed Services. As the choir sings each branch's official song, we invite all members, active, veterans, and inductees for that branch to please stand together and join in with their song.
Off we go! Thank you so much. Such a pleasure for the Sounds of the Southwest Singers to be here to celebrate all of you. So very proud to be. We'd like to sing next the piece that most of you know. I don't want you to know the words will be on the screen, so they will help you. What we're going to do is we're going to sing God Bless America. The choir will start out, and when I turn around to conduct all of you, I may just come bounding up here. I hope I don't trip. But I will come up, and I'd like you to please, all of you in this room, stand and join us in God Bless America. Thank you.
If everybody could stand.
Crown
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we retire the colors and the official party departs afterwards. Retire the colors. Please remain standing while our dignitaries depart. The first two rows. Out to the Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats for some final instructions. Our inductees will be departing first through the door you see on your right in front of the sanctuary. The recruiters have some instructions for them as they depart. Many of you have inquired about purchasing the graduation stoles. They are on loan to the students tonight, but they are available for purchase at cost for $25. We have stations available outside near the front entrance of the church, and you can take a stole home with you tonight for their future graduation. There is a private dinner for the inductees and up to 2 guests in the atrium right now after the ceremony. We are going to have everyone exit the sanctuary, and you will be dismissed in rows. Please follow our escorts as they guide you out. If you are a guest of the recruit for dinner, please meet them in front of the church where you arrived for re-entry back into the atrium. This concludes our program for the evening. Thank you, and thank you for attending. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please let the recruits filter out first.